the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Saviour having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to thusness I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime reality, to the Dharma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha, homage to the Dharma refuge, homage to the great Sangha, to all 3 ever devout homage, to all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many realms atoms in all aspects. With supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Page 15, the Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear at one time. The Bhagawan was dwelling on Massive Vulture's mountain in Rajagriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagawan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perfection. Also, at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Sharadvatiputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odour, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as the truth since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Tayata gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharadvatiputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Page 25. O sa shi peke chushe me tok cham, riva bling shi ni de gem pa di, sangye shing du mi te o wagi, troku nandak shin la chupa sho, jetsun lama dampa kenam ki, chuku kala ken se chen jigne, jita sampe du che zin mala, sabge chuki chapa bab tu so. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kandiryatayami.
Sanje Jananga Jananga Janja Bada Dane Jasanje Dagi Chichen Dola Venje Sanje Dobara Jo Sanje Jadan Zaji Janala Janja Bada Dane Dagi Chichen Jive Sanam Je Dola Venje Sanje Dobara Jo Sanje Jadan Zaji Janala Janja Bada Dane Dāgē shūjīn jībē sānām dōlā bēnjē sānjē dōparā shū ādā zēnyē sāvē dāvā dāngē pāngwāñī dēmē shēnē tēndē guādām dēlā chādē tōnyē nyē sāndē jēvē lāng jīshē sēndē khāñchē tēndē khāñchē chēnā bē mō tēndē jāsā sōwā tē sāshē tē lōndō shō pāndē sāvē lāmā rāmbā shē dāgē chūgurē bē mē tē shū kārē chī mē khāñchē Kuzonda jenga dāze dē sō chūnchā sāñcā rāmbācī mā jē pānā jī kachī jiwā nyambā mē kōne wānyā bē wārā shō wās tā kūlāṅ kum jī gyab rā tā.
So we'll do a motivation meditation.
Oh yeah. 근데 저도
Yeah.
저 제일 시 당일 저도 신들. 당저 뒤로 로 세시리 뭐 시베치니 있어야 되겠는데 캐시모레스티 네 인지민직 당도 시고 그래서 로리 뭐 시었습니다. 로라 얘나 테마는 테마 다 로리 듀스야 되시고 로리 듀와 다도 용도 로리 듀 시기도 로리 듀나라 아니 테마인게 니다 테마마인게 나요와 인데라 로리 듀스기 그랬다.
Okay, so just to we can start off with the definition of consciousness, which is clear and knowing, which is synonymous with awareness, which the definition of which is a knower. And then when you divide it, and if you've got this chart, it's in here, and it's also on this chart here. It's probably clearer on this one. There's 7 types of awareness. 2 of them are valid cognizers, and 5 of them are non-valid cognizers. It's probably better not valid cognizers, because they're not non-valid necessarily. They're just not valid cognizers.
다 테마라이나 테마단 테미니시 테마라이나 테메치니 카레 테메요 카레 스타들와 테메치니디 내려도 사드밀레베 릭바 테메치니스 시그도데.
So then we get valid cognizer, or on the chart it's here it's in the chart it's valid cognizer satu milue right? Yeah.
Satu milue.
And in the book it's translated as a prime cognizer. So these 2 are synonymous, and the definition is a new incontrovertible knower.
Sorry,
no, I'm wrong here. They're not the same. This is prime cognizer, and what's it here? Yeah, but not this one. I'm trying to match this up, because here it's valid we'll just leave this chart out for now. It's confusing. We'll stick with this one. So we've got a prime cognizer is a new incontrovertible knower.
Sadu miluwa rigwas ta cheju sumyo resirwa. Tas dinala temala cheju de teme la ya cheju sumsa sadu sewa da miluwa sewa da rigwashiwa. Cheju sumdu sana ane tema charu yore. Da tangbo sadu sewa di malawi ina kyun khare le lawi ina. Ketsi sadu malawa che. Miluwa da miluwe rigwas lawi ina. Ane teme zinyi tegir besina teg mares. Karisana cheshi di milube rigbares sartu mares ya tezo sadu shibe jeshi tema yimba jus lagda.
Okay, so on page 14 of the text, it then goes on to say there's necessary 3 aspects to this: new, incontrovertible, and knower. So these 3 aspects have to be present to make a prime cognizer. So if it was merely an incontrovertible knower, this would not be adequate, because then you could say subsequent cognizers were prime cognizers because they are incontrovertible knowers.
Pena jeshi la di 저런 망도 하고 데 제시스는 하려고 그래서나 아니 도슨도 베리 바스르와 베낭한조 잘라 무슨로 직접 계산기 간조 잘라 통조로 다 계적 군조로 데 드링양자 미기들라 통데기도 계산기 도와직다 제 매도서로 저러 계산매도 양수수 파마도 초보로 데 계산 투된 저디 드링양 셈나라 텐제 신된 저도 딜라 제시
셈나라 팽기래
와 신데기도 시기도 하고 템바지고 말이 시브 하고도 계산에 된데 직 잘라든데 통통 제시 더 미시도 기지형 딜라 제시 텍스 도슨도 베리 바사 데와 제시사 제상 코나 계산 또 산저도 드린 양자 또라 드린 양자 하고 인자 아니 sardu chama 어디 시작부터.
Okay. So if we look at subsequent cognizer, we'll just use the chart because it's too hard to jump back and forth. So this this, I don't know, online people probably can't see it, but this chart, the translations match the book. A knower which realizes that which has already been known is the definition of a subsequent cognizer. So if we remember or know something that we have perceived before, so maybe we saw something yesterday and we re-perceive it today, then that's a subsequent cognizer. This can be your parents, your friends. If you come to remember them or just know them again, then that's a subsequent cognizer.
어디지? 나도네 밀로와스 말라바이나야 사도다 리바지고 라비나 밀로와스 말라바이나 아니 이주에 참아차도스 이주에서 배낭은저 배낭은저 로튼데로 배낭은저 산제 요래 상저 산제 하고 말아 산제 요래 라나 쯤보이나 로튼데 바인자 아니 로튼데 tumbarwa 이나야 먼저 산제 요와 도고 말아 시기요 말아 갑디 밀루버사디 니 셰바 똑발로 코고레스로 다 밀루버사디 베자난 다 튼다 다만달라 주도야 요레 갑디 밀루버세와디 똑베 튼나 샤고르잖아 이주디 똑바 마레스 먼저 베나 산제 요 짐바디 이주리 이나 먼저 산제 도구면도 먼저 자왕아지 요 짐바디 먼저 이주리디 도구면도 와제다 어디 밀루어 말라나 이주 참아 차도 그래서
So if we were to leave out the unmistaken and just say it's a new cognizer, right? Yeah, a new cognizer. And we leave out the unmistaken or incontrovertible aspect, then that would not fit the definition, because then things like correctly assuming consciousnesses would be prime cognizers. And this is not the case, because, for example, we might have this correctly assuming consciousness that says Buddhas exist. However, that's something that may be correct, but we haven't realized it. We're assuming it, but we haven't actually realized it. So to be this incontrovertible, it needs to have actually had realized its object. So therefore, it's not okay to say that it's, if it's this incontrovertible aspect means that it has realized its object. And if it hasn't realized its object, then it's not a prime cognizer.
다 제주 숨바디 리바시와디 엄부 수제바 참아야 바지 엄부 수제바 시장서 믹시 깨와라 겐송고라 미겐다 겐 데마다 겐스로 아니 데마다 겐 다겐데 다겐 엄부 수제데 안다 치라마 이 참아 켈린치고래로
디 왕포디
엄부 수제데 참아 켈린치고라 건데 치라마 제가 이 참아 말레스 가르스나 소레스로와 이제 리발라 말라베이나 엄부 수제데 참아 차도 고래서
So Wambo Zukchin
데 참아 말레
Simamare
리바 말바 리바 제가
yeah, okay, not
리바 말라나 엄부 수제마 참아 차도 고요
Chiramara di
엄부 수제마 참아 켈린치고
Simakaling Chigre di Zugre. Okay.
We have question?
Sorry, before you carry on.
Just a sec. Believe it is Sima.
What happened? Something.
Yeah, sorry, what was that?
They want to know subsequent cognizer definition of subsequent cognizer before you Can you please say
A knower which realizes that which has already been realized is the definition of a subsequent cognizer. Okay. So then when we look at the this knower, this part of the definition, how we understand that is that there's the three conditions that come together: the observed object condition, the dominant condition, and the preceding condition, or immediately preceding condition. Now the the Great Exposition School believe that the sense power, the form apprehended by the sense power, is a prime cognizer. Now this is not the case because it's not a mind. It's not a knower. So this fact that it's a knower refutes that kind of misconception.
어디 나 세우차송아
Is that
sartu다 밀로와 리버슨 라고 체주숨 세우차송에서
is that clear?
Okay, that's good. 다 진이 세메진이 체주숨도 sana 참아샤고 다디 갑디 단다 참아진이 샤데 도데와당 니 심잠바당 우마랑규와 숨기 샤고 요레다조 도숨 튜모가 우마랑규와다 디날 진이 디고 도다스 디디 숨기 세메진이레스 도데와 심잠바 우마랑규와 숨기 세메진이 디레스타
Dodepa Sumsamba.
우마랑규와
So the
사두밀리베리고
Satumilurika. So this new incontrovertible realizer, this definition of a prime cognizer applies to the three schools: the Sutra school, the mind-only school, and the middle way school. It Chiramawa Yumana. But doesn't apply to the Great Exposition School, as we just covered.
다디네 세메진이 디시 다 세메 예와시 당도로
So now we'll go into the divisions of this prime cognizer.
세말라이나 무슨 세마당 아니 제바 세마니 제로
So then there's a direct prime cognizer and a subsequent, inferential prime cognizer.
다 스스 친이당 친시워도 체스로다 다디 무딜라 단다디 베제나나마 시샤도나 디직시나야고요 무슨 세마당 제바 세메 친이당 야와 디게디 단다마 시기 디마시에 콘라야 아니 롱우숨레디 카리 매직 시기 있고 다데로 디 베제나나 도와데
So this, if we read to the text, it goes on to talk about the definitions of a direct prime cognizer and an inferential prime cognizer and the divisions of both of those. But before it does that, we're going to look at what is a direct perceiver. So then this goes through the aspects of the definitions and the divisions.
So
the definition of awareness, which is direct perceiver, we're on page 14 here still. A knower which is free from conceptuality and non-mistaken.
So
the Tibetan word order is slightly different. So in the Tibetan, free from conceptuality comes first. So we'll go over that bit first. What's meant by that?
포바디 짐베 미시디 무숨레 롱우숨레 마투베릭 바레라 다 포바디 가서디 디 글라스 진스나나 로 아니 얘디 투시레 당에 나스나나
okay, glass.
베나 가서 베제나나 다직 다니 나와다 간고모 나와도 샤고라 지버레 어디서 도저 단다 롱우숨데 마레다
Not direct. So this free from conceptuality is pretty straightforward. It is what it says. It's non-conceptual or literally free from conceptuality. But going on to the non-mistaken aspect, then this is something like a non-mistaken eye consciousness perceiving the cup would perceive this as a cup, right? And then that's non-mistaken. But if you were to perceive it as a glass, like made of glass, then that would be a mistaken perception and therefore would not be suitable to be a direct perceiver or an awareness which is a direct perceiver. And then it says it's divided into four: sense, mental, self-knowing, and yogic direct perceivers. And then goes through the definition of a sense direct perceiver and the divisions of that.
다음번 것은 tinyi 가서나 랑 딱긴 랑 투모만 배 딱긴 엄보 수지마르네 겨 간시 개준이로 똑바도 대시 마드리고 다 투모만 배 딱긴 사대응서 제가 엄보 미시다 미시레 더라 미시 나시 제시 도 상말래 연거라 그게 투모만 딱긴 미 베나 미시로 이나 미고 엄보도 고요 미고 엄보고 투모만 배 미고 엄보들라디네 겨 직당 아니 니코 대장 이마마세 똑바만 봐 왕시선은 똑바도 사야 말아. 아, 대단 마투바시 거래서 마투바 잠마세 마투베 리바 거래서. 이나 아니 데이터 온봉무슨 기티 된대지 개주 된대지 사나 온봉무슨 차로 거래서 나왔다.
No. Okay. So, when it goes through the definition of a direct sense perceiver, so I'll just read it first. There's two parts to it. The first part is that which is produced in dependence on its own uncommon empowering condition, a physical sense power, and the second part is a knower that is free from conceptuality and non-mistaken. So this uncommon empowering condition is which is the sense power. The example of this would be for the I consciousness. This would be the I sense power, which is uncommon, can also be described as unique or specific. So it's specific to the I consciousness or unique to the I consciousness. It doesn't apply to the other consciousness, the I sense power, that is. So that's that aspect. And then the second one is the second part is it has to be non-conceptual, it has to be unmistaken, and it has to be a knower.
어디지? 나들라 예와들라 숨도가 엄봉무슨 테마 제시 나라망에와 숨지로.
So then it goes through the three divisions: prime cognizers, subsequent cognizers, and awarenesses to which the object appears but is not ascertained.
다 당보 하르스나 숙지 엄무 계직 당보 수진배 엄무 계직 당보디 아니 순조 되랬다.
So the example of a prime cognizer would be the first moment of a sense direct perceiver apprehending a form.
다디 테마치. 다 제시 인이 가래 순조 계직 니와들이다.
And then the subsequent cognizer would be the second moment of that I consciousness perceiving a form. That's an example.
다 숨바디 나라망에 봤어야 돼. 다 나라망에서 네 인이죠. 이 단연발 하와 차신배 주주지 순종 먼저 셈 소소이 이 들어와 셈디 셰년보 저간을 차지 되되이나 항저 미기 숙든데 따나 수야고 진투고 말 나와샤 진투고요 말아 근데 온고디 다 나라망에 봤어 그러 아 근데 망고 연구를 항저 뒤지로 항저 셈 제가 미망고시 지 셈라 셈데다 암다다 근데 이거 가들라 내가 망고 논리셔도다 어디 찍들 이네 나 때모다에 가둘래 근데 요래 때모로 빅자다데라 무비다데야 데스 오래다는 다 이당하는데 셰던다데 컨퍼런스인데 도디로 셰년 보던데 이나 아니 셈디간을 주제 아니 베디 이제 쇼타고라다고 나와 인디다 간다 어디래 다간다 셈디 드라간라쇼 아니 속 미 통장 레미지 진도고요 말다 참아자도고요 말아
Apprehended, maybe? Apprehended. So then going on to the third one, which is what does it say here? Awareness to which an object appears but is not ascertained. The example would be a sense direct perceiver apprehending a form in the continuum of a person whose mind is especially attracted to a pleasant sound. So the mind, when you're listening to something very pleasant and you're absorbed in that, forms can appear to you, but you don't apprehend them or maybe hold them. Essentially, the mind is distracted. This can happen in different aspects. Like it could be maybe you're watching a movie and you're so absorbed in that, you're not aware of the other things that are going on around. But in this example, sound is a very good one because you can get totally absorbed in the sound and you lose the ability to apprehend other things. And, if this happens when you're working or doing something else, often mistakes can come about because of this. But the point in this example is, even though the the appearance is there. You're not able to actually grasp it or apprehend it.
어디 나나만 와시. 다양 엉봉무슨 얘나 다 나야로 어디. 다들 숭지왕부, 단지왕부, 친지왕부, 렉자진배 엉보스 엉봉아. 어디에 엉봉아 샤도데.
Yep. So then when the sense direct perceivers are divided in another way, there are 5 sense direct perceivers, apprehending forms, sounds, odors, taste, and tangible objects.
다 당부 진유디하고 신나 신다도 봐. 정도당적으로 랑 두모면 다 얘는 그 미관 당스로 다 배나 숭지왕무의 샤네 랑 두모면 다 미관 아니 랑 미견의 유베술 그래서 미시디 겨라 체주 숨창으로 미견 숙제로 아니 다겐 미완체 아니 테마다겐 샤와듯이 체주 숨도잖아 아니 미기 샤와 제거로 다 체주 니디 상용도 아니 고 다디샤로 랑 두모면 다겐 미완 당 랑이 미견의 유에 술라되는 저 관시 아니 뭐어디 가라 또바드 대신 마드베 리바데 숭지왕보 무슨 짓이니 있어.
So then we go, if you understand this definition, then the other ones become more clear. So the definition of the sense direct perceiver apprehending a form is that which is generated in dependence on its own empowering condition, the eye sense power, and its observed object condition of form, and is a knower that is free from conceptuality and non-mistaken. So in this definition, for this is the definition of the eye consciousness. So the object would be the 3 conditions. The object condition would be the physical form. The dominant condition would be the eye sense power. Any the tematakshin? And the immediately perceiving condition is the previous moment of the consciousness. So these are the 3 conditions that for this eye consciousness perceiving a form. And of course then the second part is the knower that is free from conception and unmistaken.
딜레 자도 향디나 도거든 순순 대신도 랑 두모메 다게 나외 옹볼라 되네 계신 랑 다여게네 나 달라되네 지요데 근데 대난시다 마 링다 단도 신다 상말로 봐 찾아숑 디고르스와.
So yeah, then as it says here, extend this format to the others. So the same definition applies, but of course the conditions change. So because they're different sense perceivers. So for the smell, taste, touch, and so forth. So and then second we go on to this, now on the bottom of page 15, the mental direct perceiver.
도보다 대신 있다 진이디 다다 레도 이중원숨라 도고 많이 베켜르다 도고다 대신 라고다 진이디 시나 아니 도고 망고 세로 데마레 여치로더라.
So the mental direct perceiver, the definition of it, that which is generated in dependence on a mental sense power which is its own uncommon empowering condition, and is a consciousness that is an other knower which is free from conceptuality and non-mistaken. So this non-conceptuality, that's what a mental direct perceiver is. And if you clearly understand that, then that removes a lot of doubts as to what it is, because it eliminates a lot of other things like consciousnesses. You'd say, no, that's not a mental direct perceiver, that's not a mental direct perceiver, and so forth.
다 예와디 다래 무슨 제시 나라망와 숨제로 예와들라 무슨데 가서나 신신시베 무엇이 계직 당보다 그래서 무슨데 인원데 지다 신신시베 무엇이라 아니 이시샤우리 이시 완실로에 말 다디 세부차로다.
So then it goes on to talk about the divisions and the definitions of those. So second, a mental direct perceivers are divided. There are 3: prime cognizers, subsequent cognizers, and awareness to which an object appears but is not ascertained, which are mental direct perceivers. So the first, an example of that, is the first moment of clairvoyance which knows another's mind.
세상 네 신신시외 것이다 이 중심으로도 와. 세상 인도상가라 먼저 되게 신신시외 것이디 저다 지단 것이 대전 세단 망고요. 갑디 신의 줍체베 제라 아니 신신시외 것이 두베 세거라. 세상 신의디 이를 두고라. 이 좋아. 원시를 샤요 말 신의디 이를 두고 다디 세거 신의디 이를 두고 아니 신의지 안에 아니 신신시외 것이다. 아니 원진에 겨왕아마 ten야다 그래서 다 디간 두용 거라 어두스래다.
So this clairvoyance, knowing others' mind, can be said to be, well, it's a mental direct perceiver, but what is it referring to? Well, after one establishes calm abiding. So obviously this calm abiding is established in this in the mind. It's this yi, or this mental aspect, and that's where it's developed. And when you have this calm abiding, then you get many clairvoyant abilities, like the ability to remember previous lives, the ability to perceive others' minds, and so forth.
다 제시디 신신시외 것이 계징이와디 샤도하다. 어디다.
The second is, for example, the second moment of a clairvoyance which knows another's mind. So this is the subsequent cognizer.
다 나라 망해버디.
Direct perceivers.
나라 망해버디 숨바 당기기 되올라오래. 이 숙제벌 하고 차시면 다진 변주. 당저 다 당기디 달을 차송아 다리 이디 숙을 차지. 숙닝 좀 보질래 차지 되디. 아니 암저 다고에는 미드데 민드데 랍디 탐바 간저 셈디 이도 찍을 쇼대 미신다 민드데 랍나 탐바 세우면 나와 도 나라 망가버려다.
거기 숙디 챙기래.
말에 숙을 차대라. 다리 당기 달을 차고라. 다리 숙을 차고라다.
숙을 차.
숙을 이디 숙을 차도 미신다 암저 다지 라이나 디진도고요.
Okay.
다 단진원디.
Yeah, okay.
어디.
So when we're referring to the third, which is the object appears but is not ascertained, this is, for example, a mental direct perceiver apprehending a sound in the continuum of a person whose mind is especially attracted to a beautiful form. So this here is when the mind is very attached or attracted to a physical form, because it's to do with the mental aspect now. When that strong attachment is there, then the sound is not perceived by that mind or by the mind. Sorry, the sound is not apprehended by that mind.
단지 영어죠라. 단지 영어들로. 단지 영어. 다진배 영어. 되게 다 나와셔 그래. 다 또 두고요 말다.
So this is drazen yingo. A mind not drazen yingo. It's the mind unable to apprehend the sound, and it's unable to apprehend the sound because it is attracted, because it is absorbed in this attachment to the form.
다디 누즈다 어디들 다디디로 다디네 숨바 라링고숨다 라링고숨디와 라링고숨라 친이다 예와체 다라링은 지남라리기 친이스 라도.
So then we go on to the self-knower, and the definition of that's that which has the aspect of apprehender.
아들라 친이 니샤도와 도과의 대시마 주베 지남 세야단 지남라리기 친이 산 지남산다. 다디 뒤중도 결혼서 곰잡려와 옥중 곰망고 잡인데 아니 간단지라 옥중 곰잡제 아니 곰잡제지라 심세리기 차지 세시 리과든데 나와 타와 외그란 신든데 용고여라 다디 진이 코란 셔버 코란라 레스고다 디 도조다 냠뇨 때스요나 아니 도조 리그라 세단디 다디 톨라 디 라리켈레 말렌시아 도조달라다 두다스스 남바산제 두다 미툼바 망고여라 도조 데 삼로단제 용고여다 삼로단은 용고여라 세단 단다 도데바다 도저 란주바도저 디켈렌치고라 라니 켈렌치고라
도데바 수tra any 도데바 통
오마란주와
autonomous
아니 셈담베 켈렌치고라 치료미지라리 된도 셈담바 더데와 오므란 주와 선지라리 켈렌치고다 오마 텐주바당 치라마니 라리 켈렌게요 말다
consequence and great exposition. Any 셈삼바 me?
셈담바 켈렌치고 셈담바 더데와 오므란 주와 선게
Okay, yeah, I got it.
치료미지라리
Great exposition. 치라마와 me, right?
치라마와다 오마 텐주바
Right, me. That's what to do. So this self-knower, right? If we look at how you can understand it. So first we talk about the definition. That which has the aspect of an apprehender. This is a self-knower direct perceiver. That which has the aspect of an apprehender is free from conceptuality and is non-mistaken. So to get an idea of what is meant when we talk about the self-knower, if you have experience of meditating on the breath, and then afterwards, often we do that meditation where you just observe the mind, the clear and the knowing aspect of the mind. So perceiving that's an idea of what is meant by this self-knower. That mind, because the mind is perceiving itself and it's perceiving its own clarity and knowing aspect. Now, whether different Buddhist tenets hold to this self-knower, there's differentiation within that. So three of them, which is the mind only, the sutra school, and also the autonomous middle way school, they all hold to a self-knower. They all hold this belief that a self-knower exists. And the consequent school of the middle way and the great exposition school, they don't believe in this self-knower. They say there is no self-knower.
that mangse dosong da jinzo gu kormasong
So we've covered quite a lot. Is it clear? Is it all clear?
Beijing ranrik de shajo.
Okay, so
mangwu shena amjo na lewa na jugu mar.
So we should maybe stop here. I think we've
danda di shingurda 아니 참여 진익이 수도 사도다 밀려와리고 숨소야게 좀 된디게 되체 아니 무슨 무슨 롱무숨 신고로 엉봉무숨 이중무숨다 라링무숨랑서 샤임바 엉봉무숨 되려 예나야 무슨 참아 제시 나라망에 와체 아니 이중무슨 되려 무슨 제시 나라망에 왔음도 다 라릭데 준다 제마시고 데데즈 탁보도와 탁보요래.
So the things that we need to cover that you probably should take away from this is the three aspects of the definition of a prime cognizer, which is here. New, incontrovertible, and a knower. So you have to understand these three aspects. Then we also talked about what direct perceivers are and the divisions of those. So the sense direct perceivers, the mental direct perceiver, and
이중무슨
any yoga the Najo Nansong? So we haven't covered yogic direct perceiver, so just the sense direct perceiver and the mental direct perceiver. And so understand what is meant by these. And then we talked a little bit about the self-knower, but we haven't gone into detail on that, so we'll cover that off later. There's a question here. Please give 5 more examples of realms fall under the 3 divisions of object possessors. 5 more examples. So come nga pe nga mangwa. I don't understand this question. I'm really sorry.
No more examples of the beings that fall under, like, for example, like asuras and.
Oh, okay. Gonda, tanda hokuzo. So the kamsum yorero. So kamsum nangla Pena zugmikam di la kandi kandire ro.
Ale,
So pe di pe any zugkam di la kandi kandire
Ale.
any di dokam mangcho hago di la kandire any mi kandire any di this
yeah.
comes from this pe te.
Very. 다 단다 디리 더바 감숨랍디 더 감수간 숨이 감라 다 더바 랍디 더바 감질라 미단 하스니여레 와 더바들 미단 하니체 다 미드다 아니 덴로당 엔로니체 다 들어다다 이다다 냐와당 툰로당 도스 상만 더베나라고요 더베 감라 안데네 미체 맞다 디미리라죠 미체 하체 그거 이다지 냐와지 둔도체 미체 하체 너바들라 도 링아요래
So first, if we look at the desire realm, then this can be categorized into two, the upper and the lower realms, right? So the upper realms is the human and God realms, and then the lower realms is animals, hungry ghosts, and hell realms. So you can say there's 5 subdivisions of the desire realm.
다 데벨 하도졸라 시네 토베요 말다.
Okay.
데벨 하도졸라 시네 토고요 말. 코란조 양 개와치베 또 개와다 명람딘데 개와다 소남랍 첨보딘데 사와 짐바슉 첨보딘데 단제 꿀론단도 야고메나 명람 야고 마잠나 아니 할라 개와렌도고요 할하스다 데벨 할라 지 딘데 요마를 가서 오래 시네마도베다 하도졸라 데벨하슬람나 코데르다 지난데 셰다 망고요디 셰모지.
So the gods within the desire realm have not attained calm abiding. They are born as desire realm gods based on the power of prayer and merit, right? So, for example, if they accumulated a lot of merit from, say, generosity, but didn't dedicated or didn't okay, sorry, not dedicated. Without pure prayer, without proper prayer, then they can be reborn in this God realm based on the merit from the generosity that doesn't have the proper aspirational prayer.
데벨 하 페나데드레 간조 창바다 야진다 완죽도 데벨 하래 완죽
Shiva.
창바당 야진당 완죽당 도조바다.
So this would include gods like Shiva and Brahma. Any Shimpasu?
야진.
Gachin. I think that's Gachin. I think is Indra, but I'm not 100% sure.
데벨 하제세 하구사든데 열다 든정게자다면다 열.
Yeah. So there's 9 different types of this, but we don't need to go through them all.
다디네 수클 하세야 돼 갈라거스나 다시네 톱네로 가서 미루된라야 곰잡제로 시네 톱 아니 시네 톱타 시네 자마세 아니 지 데베뉴모 방로와 데베뉴모 방 아니 수글라야 차바제네로 수글라다 체령화당 데바디 체통화당 내마화당 근데도 제가 수라 수그네 수들라 삼대 당보 니와 숨바 시워세드네레 삼대 당보라 내던데 여러 창바 창리 창진세드네 네 망고 여러 대저 수를 겨래나 체릉보셔도 되고래 아니 먼저 단다 미기 동해에서든데 요 말에 미 직도에 되자서로 먼저 잘라서 체된 요소로든데 요 말와도 된다면은 디 야고도 삼들라 겨랜데 요니니도 어두스 때다 수감나 제로라.
So the beings born in the form realm had previously attained calm abiding as human beings, and because of that, they abandoned attachment to the pleasures of the desire realm, right? So the desire delusion does not arise, doesn't manifest for these beings. Yet they still have a zugla. They still have attachment to form. So their abide is this form realm, which is this vast place, and this has 4 aspects: the first, second, third, and fourth levels of concentration. di men kare sang
samde thangbo de la ya ne tinde suk de la sugam ne ri jubdun se de ne ri ta men da jubdun ge wale jubdun yore
16
sugam ne ri
aspects.
jubdun sirwa
Okay. So the first of these concentrations in the form realm, this has 16 aspects to it.
mare di samde thangbo ni wa sumba shiwa chazan
Oh.
domne jubdun
Oh,
yore
okay. Sorry, my mistake. No, not the first one. These four have 16 aspects. There's 16 aspects of these four.
16 mada 17 jubdun
Chupdun. Sorry, 17.
17
Chupdun.
sugam ne ri jubdun se da chedan de kharjesna kunzo debala 다 미팅 안저 검저라 안저 대바데 아니 채통동 강에 망보도 동에 망보도 수글인데 민도 삼제네 삼무단에도 삼대 인구시 톱차나 델 겨울엔로
Donde
근데 줄투마다 대바데 채통동로 라이브 숏 라이브
okay, live, yeah.
아니 나자 망보 동에 망보 아니 강에 망보 또 수글인데 민도 체릉보 나자 뉴뉴도 어디 델 겨울에는 야고도 스러다
Okay. So they have abandoned attachment to the desire realm because they have the perception that the life here is very short, there's a lot of difficulties and sufferings and problems. But in their perception, the form realm is free from this. So they still have attachment to this form.
다 수라 겨울엔 사네 야아다 델 강에 레샤스로 야 수라 미베 착바디 깨운데 삼바디 투용고여라 유로고여라 다데 야고면도 삼제네 양자 곰자도 아니 신두 속 나와 찾아 유연네 속 나와 정말 속을 착바데 어다 숙매를 겨울에는 야서래 술을 착바데 민도로 제가네 숙매를 겨울에는 야서래 삼제네 속에 뉴모 방제 아니 숙매 중요시 토비온데 아니 겨울 제마들라 다 숙매를 겨울에는 거다 데데 다들 남시 지고면서 이길려면서 요말 남시 지고면서 딜라 난가테 남시대 지에메 시지 시오라
So those beings who are reborn in the formless realm have done it through actually having abandoned, in addition, the abandoned attachment to the form realm. Because they perceive that this is still susceptible to change. They still see that it's not free from suffering. So they abandon this attachment to the form realm, and therefore, in their next life, they take rebirth in the formless realm. And at this time, there's only mind. They have a mental body. There's no form.
단다 건조 딜라게서라 티사 직된 어디들이 다디 아니 송매게 난가타야 남시에 지에메데 삼다 무시디게다 미그바와 디간에 타라게 겨와체제 심 다디 저 간주 상마 장감에 겨월래요 다 도슬로 간주 겨워 망올렌사들 간주 디게 상말에 겨월렌사들 시지세야디 다 코에게 심 토슈들이 드네 마야 냐와라 용도 스타 거르잡제 간주 다 장감에 겨월렌사르다 수다 숙매다 도슬로 겨월 장감에 올렌사르스 말한다
So the like in the moshishena the
숙매지 무시세 된다다라 무시 맞다 무시스데 숙매기 녀모 방바들라 방베 딜라 무시스 거려 녀도라디 녀모 본제기 탈란디 시거데 하고세 다디 라고 말이시데 녀모 방 용데 아니 속 녀모 방 용데 아니 숙매라야 다 겨울에야 미시 대요 말하고
Okay. So through having abandoned this attachment to the form realm, they take rebirth in the formless realm. And at that time, even though we've all taken rebirth there immeasurable times, right? Many, like countless times. And even though this is said that in these realms, it's the peak of samsara, still you have to take rebirth again within samsara. Because, and we've been said that not just us, all sentient beings have taken rebirth there countless times.
다디 겨와직 되어래 너바당 술라 먼저 파르도 열이라 파르도 숙매라 파르도 여 말이다 카도 겨월렌로 어디 겨월
Zug pado yure.
Sultan develop pado yor.
Okay. So for the intermediary state, desire realm beings and form realm beings have an intermediary state. Whereas formless realm beings, there's no bardo, there's no intermediary state for these beings.
Kaduk dagran jewlen.
So they immediately take rebirth in the formless realm. Sorry, formless.
Yeah.
Do they have just a question, do they have the ability to become enlightened from the formless realm?
So do they have the ability to become enlightened from the formless realm? So Zugmi kam di gangsakti, sange gopan top nupiyure?
Nubayor sanje rig yorwa. Ina sumi kam ten telas sanje tu mare. Sug ten dele jedo devel he den le. Ta sanje ten de milu den le mi jeto go mare. Ina kon nubayor. How was that? This
Okay. So you could essentially say that they have the power to attain enlightenment because they have Buddha nature, but they're not able to attain it while they're born as formless realm, while they're in the formless realm rebirth. Only yeah, only humans have this potential. Okay. Can Geshe-la... Oh, sorry. In the continuum, does this refer to another person like clairvoyance? What's this? In the continuum. Oh, do you mean this mental direct perceiver? Does this refer to another person like clairvoyance? So the Yiginon Sumra, the Pedi Mishemba Shensem Kogido. So Shensem the Kandi Tandak di Karere.
Shensem Sina Pena Nge Mishin Sinro, Nge Antong Simshim. What the law, Shensem did.
Yeah. So
Mishin Sim Karishim with Shemba de law.
Yeah, Shensem means literally to know another's mind would be the more word for word translation, right? So this refers to like Geshe-la knowing my mind, perceiving my mind or an aspect of it, right? So other means like not my mind, another's mind, right? In this case. And yeah, so this would be perceiving them, and it says like a clairvoyance, so I guess. So there's many ways to know, many divisions or ways to know another's mind. Yeah. Now, can Geshe-la give 5 examples of a third type of mental direct perceiver? So one Nanglamanye, that was, yeah, sorry, an object appears. So Yigi Nanglamanye, you want 1 example or 5? So Yigi Nanglamanye, the pe kashite.
Ole, Yigi Nanglamanye wa tarare. Pena ngazu dirwa. Su pena temo miki temo tadera. Yid temo tadere. Ani semnala nawadamana shagrava ko darwaj tewina. This indocument wa dere. Nalama yila pemango yore. Ani ngazo tinde yore. Midagwa nangre des indocuyo mare. Ani keja tinde shedu de yig indocuyo mare. Duzu sangmareda.
Okay. So this. Okay. So this, when for an example would be when you're watching a movie and your mind is so absorbed into it that your mind doesn't apprehend what else is going on, right? Now, however, this mental aspect of this appearing but not apprehending for the mental consciousness happens a lot. For example, impermanence appears to us all the time, but we don't apprehend that.
Yeah, this kaya mare. Tangi tangbo ngajo khalasna. Ani nan mango di jingi mari janla dera. Ina chuksu jingire dele to tuya di jingi marta ma ser des tanda. Yi jura 진짜 때 징그레 셔와 상매 유대데 징으로고
Can't really.
이나 그마 유독토비야 그 누가 인조 징토고요 말이다.
Okay.
축지직 징라로 축지직 징라로고요. 어디르다.
So
이는 단다.
to clarify a little bit, this grasp, hold, or maybe you could say apprehend, it holds it a little bit or apprehends it a little bit, but not to the point where it's able to realize it, right? It doesn't, because the apprehension is not strong enough to allow you to actually realize the object, or maybe you could just say know the object. Talk to know, so you can't know the object. So there's an aspect of apprehending or grasping it, but not powerful enough to know the object.
괜찮은데 남는 되게 무슨 여러 또 당보 무슨다 잉어서 겨와 시내야 거래 왕보 당보면서
So Wombo knows some.
당보 미국 왕보 무슨 얘기도 와 되게지 니와들라 양 이지 왕보 무슨 얘기 그래 이지
Okay.
그래
So
근데 지난시 다게 계지 당보 양 계지니와 또 스케용 거다 잉어서
right. So this example of how a mental direct perceiver can come about is first you have this sensory direct perception, like an eye consciousness perceiving that. Then this next moment after that, then a mental direct perceiver perceiving the same object arises. Right?
대디나시 달라요래 나라요래 젤레요 그
And
상매요
it's the same for sound, smell, taste. Does that make sense? So okay, cool.
다 먼저 학벌도 먼저 배나 내내래 먼저 미시기 이 포와 미다고 동으로 미다고 나나 망해버려
Okay.
미시디 포와 통으로
Appears, yeah.
포와 통용으로
Yeah.
디게진 이와데 포와 미다고 나니 이시디 야 나나 망해 차잘 먼저 미다고 무슨 또 두고 말아
Right.
당보 포와 미다고 나라 게지 당보
Remember it, yeah.
이와딜라 이지 포와 미다고 나요 그래 포와 미다고 또 두고 말아
Oh, okay.
나나 망해 차로
Okay.
루스르다
So it's the same could be said for the appearing but not apprehending. So, for example, the first moment of a sensory direct perceiver, so migi nang siya din mitakpa nangere.
난그래요.
Yeah. So the impermanence appears, to example, for the eye consciousness. So the first moment, but it's not apprehended. It's not grasped or apprehended. And then the second moment of that, the mental direct perceiver arises, and again the impermanence appears to that, but again it's not apprehended. So that's appearing but not apprehending.
세상 저 미기 옹보 계직 당보디 계직 여와라 잉외지기. 야 계직 여와디 잉외 계직 여외지. 잉외 당감에 제거 당원들. 먼저 미기 옹보디 계직 당감에 제거 봐. 그 계직 당보 계직 여외 계직 선배 계직 다이 중에서는 잉외를 당가요 말 당원들.
So there's, as we have countless direct sensory perceptions, like constantly there's new things appearing to our eye consciousness, the second moment of each of those produces this mental direct perceiver, so there's therefore countless of those generated as well.
다저 제메다 이제 다 체명 오게 돼야 돼. 세상 안저게 단다 안저 이디 디레 가서 나나 망하고 장장을 다 많자. 다 신의 톱나 아니 다 이디 때 서로로 거야. 때 갈래라로 그 슬로우 모션 차르다. 단다데 빼 잡고 쇼도 거야. 아니 유도도 거 뭐래.
So most of our mental perceptions are this, appearing but not apprehending, for an ordinary being. Well, for normal people, let's just say. However, once you develop calm abiding, then it changes slightly. In a sense, it's like things are moving in slow motion. You're much more aware of the different things and perceive far more.
아니 대체도 아니 신도 이기 누바디 체로도 걸어 아니 신도 미신기 심도야다 겨왕아마 신 두스 용고요 단단한 저데 뒤지 통다네 전 신도고요 말 뒤지 tun난 저러고요
So as this mind slows down, then it gets more power, and then you can start to do things like perceive previous lives and so forth. For us, we can only really be aware of very short periods of time, right? And then kind of lose it and stuff like this.
잉어 계단데 닝저요 잉어 계단들어. 데 잉어 삼로다나다 응원에 레더라. 말한저 네 원시기니 미싱심 또 두고 말해. 미기 통조 장마 계진이와 될 셈게 신도고면도. 와.
So, we have this we can see because we don't have these sensory perceptions to perceive others' minds. We can't
먼저 마차 튼지 균으로 똑바 장면도 무슨들 내가 고토고요 막.
Yeah. So, and a lot of the time we engage with objects through conceptuality, through a generic image or a meaning generality, we don't have the ability to perceive directly. So our mind.
딥도 있어요. 튼지디 딥도 있어요. 튼지 딥도 거다. 나 똑바디 딥도 수미지 남도요. 이제 똑배기 이시디 그 까도요다.
So we're constantly clouded by these things like these meaning generalities, the generic images. These mistaken beliefs and so forth. So all our perception is clouded or fogged by this.
제단다 먼저 곰자데 계좀 쉬어다. 곰자네 단다. 내가 가도인라 옥중우다. 아니야. 사사라 지 동반이 소리인데 곰샤나요. 심라 내자면은 가고래다 당원이다. 찬지스지 시대 곰되나. 심 템포서야라 심디 옥중우 곰자데 심데 스테노라나 아니 수미지 니나 남도 또 똑바데 남도데 수수 똑바 남도데 뉴로로 되냐나 튼지디 데스 뉴로로 튼지 뉴로나 아니 이시디 이중무슨디야 내가 지야라다 고tuk 연구로다 근데를 레셔다 데데 딩아라 삼로 단다르다로
So this is why we need to meditate, and we need to meditate on things on the breath to develop our concentration. Even though it's definitely beneficial to meditate on emptiness and bodhicitta and so forth, without a stable mind, it's extremely difficult to realize these things, right? So, because we're constantly inhibited by mistaken beliefs, a lot of thoughts, these generic images and so forth, but as we develop our concentration, then these tend to go down, become less thoughts, less mistaken beliefs and so forth. And that opens us up to be able to develop more understanding. And this is my view of things anyway.
저나도 가시에 이 신의 꿈디 덤베 구 꿈디나 꿈을 공부래로 덤베 꿈이과디 체 아니 딜 세우 딜레지 아니 셈바남도 망보 제운디 티카야라 아니 우중 꿈디 야 셈바데 딜로 차마 템보 차스네야 덤바 꿈 두 세계는 아니 야고요레스.
So for developing karma bodhi, there's different objects you can use, different bases for this. Like, often the image of a Buddha's body is visualized, right? However, it's also good at times when the thoughts become a lot, right? You have a lot of thoughts. At this time, it's good to go back to meditating on the breath, focusing on that. Counting the breath and doing that. And then when the thoughts start to subside a bit, then you can go back to meditating on the basis or the object for developing karma bodhi.
이 제도다 심 단다도 나라망해봐다 이거다 저저리 심 저저다 삼로당 곰잡나 아니 신디 다디디리샤 나라망 호디리샤 당도 만샤 나라망 견자래 나라망 견자래.
So when we start to actually understand our mind a little bit and understand things like this appearing but not apprehended, if we actually think about it and then meditate on it, and we'll actually then come to realize that most of our perceptions are this appearance without apprehending.
I should know do there.
No, I think that's any more questions?
Okay. No. Yeah.
You almost sort of that was almost an answer, but my question is, what are the direct benefits of understanding the different types of awareness?
So what are the direct benefits of understanding the different types of awareness? So di rikpa yewa, di rere hakona, di pento kare.
Di pento yorda, jime gom jabiyonde, di dirisha, dine hakoyon gora, dine pe gawar da.
So, the benefit comes later when you're actually doing the meditation and things arise, and then you can identify, this is this. You can identify, these awarenesses, awarenesses coming up. So, at that point you can, it's really cool, I guess, joyful. You can go, this is that, right? And you can recognize
아니 신도 수수 들어와 가나서 데려와 가나서 베나 지란서 디나라 워크숍 나라 가베지 날디 투어 망고 여러 알아 투어 잘라 락자다면데 여러 인지니어들 락자다면데 여러 디게 차상하고는 안지메 디디리 슬람산 투고 말아 아니 곰잘 지고래 로다 셰베 남샤디 계신 디디리 아니 수수 고야디 당거르면서 상만을 하고 창고 말아 어디 펜더
So I guess it's the same if you're a mechanic or an engineer or something like that. If you know all the parts to whatever, like the car or whatever you're constructing, you can, if you really know them, you can easily identify them and then go straight to the correct thing that you need, right? And it's the same with the mind. If I can identify all of these, then you go, that's that, and you don't get confused and mistaken, and you don't get all messed up in the wrong thing, right?
다디 럽종 시에 디 약슈리미시 신다 탑시 디 요마레스다.
But study is the best method to develop this. Other methods are not so effective.
I have, I all the time talking my uncle retreat. He been 40, maybe 47, 48 something in retreat. He already taught, he been retreat. He said that my meditation similar using beggar food, beggar food. One person give one bread, just eat and finish. He meditation. He said like that. Because he not enough start, he go there, stuck there, and again ask a teacher, little bit go there, stuck there. If he said he learning, then you understand, then go, using lots of things, He has experience. This reason he really little bit encouraged me study at the monastery. He said, my meditation is. Bega Zamba, I think Zambas you don't know, make Bega bread is better, Bega bread. Bega bread is just one bread, people just eat this raw. Bango Zamba Nashi, Bango Pale, Bango Pale, meat dictation at this area, Dimishi, Sayomara, Denashi, Gom Java, the Susuloption Chairman, Gigan, Chiglaure, Ticom, and Sare, Chigla, Desare.
So, he describes his meditation as like beggar's sampa, if you know what that is, or you can just use beggar's bread, in the sense that, when a beggar gets a piece of bread, they just eat it, right? And there's no more. So it's like that with his meditation. His teacher gives him some instruction, he does that. He can't go beyond. He goes back to the teacher, he gets another instruction, he does that. He can't go beyond that. So it's because he hasn't studied.
제가 제르모신 인데 송다 제르모신 공부 좋다네. 양자 크루르모신 쇼쇼네. 제르모신 양자 크루르모신 셰세제 빼자 람른 쳔모당. 나리 쳔모 빼자 데타나 다가나나 유 랍제상마 델레유 데리송다 개겐데르스.
So
빼자.
Yeah, Lama Tsongkhapa's post-meditation advice was to Kedrup Rinpoche's student was that, you will find all in this Lamrim Chem, the great expositions of the stages of the path and the great expositions on the stages of Tantra. In this, you will find all the necessary instructions. These should be regarded as your teacher. Any other questions?
Okay, now we stop here. Oh, next. Yeah,
I think I've given the chart. I've given you the what's following. So just follow that for the study.
Tare dundadina la chiranzu drilling chigi na ane sadu milewa rigwase kare chezi kare cheshi chezi kare ye ane ongbo tantang tangi tiole na shi shinsin shibe ngwishi ane yung da dige ma tanda drilling dunjo dige yangya phazu chik dotumna yabo yoro
So in the discussion group, if we go over the various aspects of the definitions for the direct perceivers and all of the mental perceivers and so forth, and the sense perceivers, so breaking down the different aspects that make up each of these and what categorizes something as that, so try and develop a clear understanding of that.
Page lawyer the page bingu which another message time gutta.
Okay, so
This is Yama tour the Kayamata.
So, regarding the reading, I think Bingu can give you an email for what we're going to cover. So, but if you accidentally read too much, then don't worry about it. That's fine.
Adela. Did some of the parts Langa to do that, and then the Tanda the Tini down to those some Yalonzi down to that, some down to Nania.
So, furthermore, if you can memorize these definitions, and then when you're even walking around or whatever doing, you can be kind of thinking about the meaning of them and what, how they work and so forth, and then this can help to clarify, help to develop your understanding.
Okay, we're still here now.
By the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the King of Dharma, Tsongkhapa's way of Dharma practice flourish. May the omens of obstacles be pacified, and all the conducive circumstances be complete. The wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world. To the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Savior of the snowland teachings and transmigratory beings, who makes extremely clear the path that is unification of emptiness and compassion. To the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. You who uphold the subduous moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayers honoring the 3 jewels,